Hey there, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Snowpal Software Development and Architecture Podcast. In this podcast, we're going to take a look at a couple of different apps and see, talk about a very specific topic. Here is what we're going to talk about. We're going to essentially compare the two apps that we're going to take a look at the samples and see if we can identify any commonalities between them and sort of take the conversation forward. And to set the context to this podcast, at Snowpal, as a product startup, we have several different products. One of the things we do, one of the many things I should say that we do, is build APIs and SaaS products essentially for other companies to consume. The idea is that you shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel, spend your time, energy, effort, and take a lot of risk in actually doing what we already have. We have like 8 different APIs at the time of this recording that run into thousands of endpoints. So regardless of what your problem is, however unique you think it is, and I give it to you, that a lot of it is, you're going to solve unique customer problems surely. But even within the realm of those unique problems, a fair share of those problems, or the way that you need to approach to solving those problems, has there's a fundamental sense of commonality. There's design patterns that can be established, and we've actually established that, and that's why we've implemented these APIs and published those APIs. So again, take a look at, I'll include links here so you can take a look at those APIs. I'm mentioning this here, not so much to pitch the APIs, at least, we do that plenty other times, but to set the context for this podcast, because it's important to know why we are kind of creating these APIs, implementing them and making them available to you to get the complete essence of the topic that's uh, that is related to this podcast essentially. So without further ado, and with that said, let me actually share my screen. We'll just jump right in. And if things are a little bit unclear and hazy at this point, it's all right. By the end of this podcast, hopefully it should clear. Hopefully I'm able to clear muddied waters there. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share just a particular screen because sharing the desktop causes just makes it a little bit trickier sometimes. Yeah. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. What I'm going to do, let me move this away here. Yeah, this is our app. If you haven't actually downloaded it to manage your projects, highly recommend that you do so. We are not going to spend time talking about, oh, let me actually, yep. Uh, so I'm sharing this via QuickTime, so hopefully it records just fine. I haven't done this particular style of podcast before, but let me hope that it actually does a fair job here. Okay, I'm gonna go into Instacart. And by way of obvious disclaimer, I run the engineering team at Snowpal. We have nothing to do with any of the other apps other than anything Snowpal related. We have no, interests or investments, at least as of this point, in the two apps that I'm going to share with you here. The first one is Instacart. So let's take a look at that. Folks have used this, great for, but if you haven't, because our podcast listeners are all over the world. This is a food delivery app where you can order food, groceries, and then you get delivered to your homes. Uh, that's essentially what the app does. So let's look at it for a minute or so. You can actually go search, for whatever it is that you're looking for, or you can actually pick the store. Let's say I picked Wegmans, one of the grocery stores near our house that we shop at most of the time. So you can pick the product. You can say, you know what, I want this organic milk. Add it here, 2 counts. And I go get the coconut water. Uh, if you live in the US, coconut water is actually a whopping $10. Yeah, it's insanely expensive. Um, okay, and then you picked it, go to checkout, continue to checkout. Okay, you pick the time, blah, 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 and you can make the payment, you can continue. Let's say, you know what, let me actually continue. This is going to be like a test order that I can actually cancel. I'm wondering, uh, maybe let's actually go to this. I need to make it over $35 so the delivery is actually pay for the service. Um, but still, for the delivery to be free, it needs to be. Okay, I'm going to go to checkout. I'm going to pick a time further out so I can actually cancel this order since it's only for demo purposes. Yeah. Just going to pick a time. I'm going to click continue. Since this is just a sample order, I'm not going to add a tip here because we want to cancel this order. Okay, otherwise you should obviously definitely want to appreciate the service and tip the folks who are helping us out here. I'm going to hit pay. Oops, that, you know what, I'm going to, it's just the last four of the card number, so we're all right. Okay, please the order. Then you can go take a look at the items that we ordered. Right, it says, do you need anything else? You can pick if you want to replace some things. If you know we don't like for it to be replaced, so we pick don't replace. Otherwise, you can pick replace and pick a particular item, for instance. Right. So, okay, so this is basically a simple ordering experience, and then we can go back here, can go to orders, and we can take a look at our orders, the one that's currently pending. So that's the Instacart app as it works. Now let's go to a different app, right? So this is Instacart, and I picked a store. I placed an order. I'm going to get out of this app, and I'm going to go to, say, Wegmans, which is actually the app for the store. Let me actually close this and open it back so you get the full experience. Okay, now, it's again a different store. But if you come in here, you already might notice, let's say you go, uh, maybe you spot some similarities, maybe you don't. At this point, maybe you don't, just because we are in the business of building software, and we look at just about everything in life with these software eyes, if you will, we can spot things a little bit sooner than if you are not in the industry. But let's say you did not. At this point, I'm going to fault you if you don't spot any similarities, even though there are things that you can watch out for. You look at, I don't know if which shows up as I'm expecting for it to. If you just look at the address bar here at the top, and then you look at the address, the search bar, sorry, you can actually see that kind of looks similar, right? But again, how different can search look? Sure. Okay, I'm going to go here and let's look at the layout. It's a carousel. Again, a lot of these are standard components. You could argue if you're building this on, say, React Native or Flutter, or even if it's a Swift or Kotlin, you can have these generic components, so things can look similar. Yet, when you go to each of these items, it's eerily similar. This is a plus. There's an item. There's an image. I don't know if you can see where I'm touching, but I'm looking at this Morningstar, the first item, the farms, the veggie fillet or something. It has an image, it has a price, it has this yellow highlight and text, the quantity, and then a plus sign. I go here. It's very similar, isn't it? Now, again, you might say that, you know what, how different can things possibly be? Well, they can surely be quite different. Even within the realm of a mobile app, this is very, very similar. But let's keep going. Let's actually say, what did I order? Actually, I think I ordered milk, and let's see, let's go to this order. Our orders. Okay, I picked coconut water and organic milk. So let's go look for organic milk. Let's pick that same, not that it matters, but I'm going to pick that, two of them. The next is the Harmless Harvest coconut water. Okay, we're going to pick two of them, right? I think we picked three. I don't remember. Okay. We needed the $35 for the minimum order. Okay, now you kind of start seeing this. I don't know if you're spotting more similarities. I wish I had done them sort of side by side. Maybe you can even try that. You go to checkout. Okay. This page is hard to miss. The similarities between these two, the pages, the one we just went through on Instacart and the Wegmans app here. So I picked I choose pickup, and then I can pick, say, a few days out. I can choose. It's going to ask me, um, actually, let's pick delivery because we picked delivery on the other one. And if you remember this page, the placing the order, the delivery tip, remember we went here and we picked 0. The UI is slightly different, ever so slightly different. Oops, I think I picked the wrong one. Okay, save tip. But it's pretty much the same. And then you go here. I think it's going to say choose address. Do I have to pick something else? Continue. Snow delivery instructions. And then I can go place the order. Where did I pick the order for delivery time? February. Oh, not today. Actually, I want to pick Thursday. Okay, I'm going to place the order. These are 2 orders I have to remember to cancel. We neither need milk or the coconut water. Certainly not 2 sets of those from this, not to mention the same store. Need anything else? No. Okay. If you had shown me this page and asked me, Krish, which app is this, I would have just said Instacart because this is exactly the same. There's literally no difference. All of this, the navigation, only difference is this is specific to one vendor, one store, as opposed to all of them. So my orders and receipts, let me go here. This is a new order. Let me pick that particular order. And then if I go see the items, we are on a Wegmans app and look at them side by side. It's exactly the same. Items to be shopped, the font, pretty much, right? The only difference that we are seeing here, to be honest with you, is that the Wegmans is an older version of the Instacart app from what I can tell. The Instacart app has been upgraded, but not so much the Wegmans app. So this is an example of reusability. Now, I have no idea how these systems, how these companies integrate and work together. But as a consumer, just looking at 2 apps, here's what I can speculate. This is merely speculation, but I mean, you tell me how far off the speculation is. It is the same application, right? Pretty much. The different version of it, if you will. And let's before I go to the user interface, let's even talk server side. Instacart has a pretty high markup. You pay a lot more per item, and then you pay for service, annual fees, delivery, tips, and it becomes a lot more expensive. And I think if I had to ballpark the number, I think it's about 30% more. If you're spending $100 at the store, you'd spend $130, give or take, if you order through Instacart. A lot of us still end up doing it just because it saves you time, but it's very expensive. So when we said, okay, let's try to go to Wegmans directly. So, and then we can just pick up because, they have an option for you to pick up. So there you just go drive. There's not so much a drive through, but you go to the front of the store, you say you're there, and then, the helpful folks just drop it in your trunk and you're good to go. We thought that we're going to pay the same prices as you would pay at the store, not so much the Instacart prices. Actually, let's do this, right? Let's compare. There's a little bit of digression from the core essence of the podcast, but it's still, I think it's worthwhile, and maybe it's not even digression. Let's see how much we paid for this. Okay, this is $10.19 through the Instacart app. Exactly the same price, $10.19 through the Wegmans app. The organic milk is $5.79. Let me go here. And at this point, you probably don't even know which app I'm on, except the color is different. Instacart is green and the other one is red. $5.79. So that's the exact same price. We discovered, unfortunately, after paying the same thing multiple times, that the price is exactly the same. We thought, okay, given that Instacart is not the provider, it's a company in the middle, they're going to have to take more of a cut every step of the way. So the product is more expensive, but if you're buying it directly from the store, it's not. That's not the case here. So this tells me that the backend is probably the same as well, right? The data, the values coming out of, I imagine, I assume incorrectly so, that this was actually different. That you're, when you go buy it at Wegmans directly through the app, you would actually pay lesser because the store is selling it directly to you, and they're just providing an additional service, but not so much. This looks like the integration is even more deeper. There is no. This is a bit bizarre to me. I would have expected for it to be cheaper and customized to the store path. I'm not saying it should be exactly as what it's at the store. Let's say it's $5 at the store. Instacart just $5.79. I would have expected this to be like $5.29 if you order through the app, because somebody's actually taking the pain to go around the store, pick up these items for you. I mean, they could do that for free because they are actually benefiting from your purchase at the store. But even if they did not want to and they want to have the additional charge, that's fine. But the fact that it's exactly the same tells me that they're integrating literally with the same backend systems where the values are also coming from the exact same. If it's a JSON file or if it's like protobuf or wherever the data is coming from or through, it's the exact same data, which came as a surprise to me. I don't know, because I wonder if I don't know if it's because Instacart doesn't have support, so doesn't have a choice as much, so they have to go through and have them charge the same thing. And if they did, who's this money going to? I don't know. I mean, I don't care, because as a consumer, I still have to pay it. But all of this is important if you're building software. Take examples here, because this is, I don't know how much of the backend is also being reused. I reckon Wegmans is a groceries company. They're not a software company. So they're probably saying, you know what, I want to sell groceries. I want to make it convenient. You have all the software. Why don't you do it? Just, we'll pay you. And, there's a cut. There must be some commission that, the vendor, in this case, Instacart, takes as a provider for these purchases. How their pricing model works, I have no idea, right? Because obviously, but this is an example to go by. One part is the backend. There's three facets to this, if you ask me. Let me actually stop sharing the screen so I can. Okay, the way I see it, there's three facets to this. One is the data. The data appears to be exactly the same here. We saw it. The prices are exactly the same. So it's coming from one place, wherever that one place is. If it's coming from, a persistent layer or a config, whatever, wherever it's, obviously it's not config because it's dynamic data. Things are going to change. Your quantity is going to change. And I don't know how the pricing works, whether it changes all the time, or whether it's a standard static price for that product for a period of time. So the data is coming from somewhere, and then the backend systems are, provisioned and implemented, probably running in the cloud somewhere that's managed by, by Instacart. Again, these are all speculations, right? Take it with more than a grain of salt. But this is what I'm going to assume as somebody who's in the business of building software, or at least this is how I would do it if I were them. Now they can actually sell that to multiple grocery stores, to Kroger, to Giant or Giant Eagle, or all of these, because none of them are in the business of building software and they don't want to do it, because if it's not your cup of tea, why bother? Do what you're good at and let other people do what they are good at, and integrate, collaborate, and so we can be successful as a community of businesses, which is exactly what we do at Snowpal. We sell these APIs either as SaaS APIs, so you can pay by request, pay by monthly or annual subscription, or if you want us to provision it in your own infrastructure, we can do it, or we can create a new sort of a VPC and create provision the exact same services that we have in infrastructure that we manage on AWS or other, or Google Cloud or Azure, but that's dedicated to you. So there's a number of different ways you can integrate our APIs. It's entirely up to you and your business needs. That's from an API standpoint. What the example we just saw here was from a UI standpoint as well. They actually have these apps, because I downloaded the app, Wegmans app, from the store, basically from the App Store, which means Instacart is going to have to actually have a version of it built and deployed and provisioned for these for Wegmans as a company. So Wegmans doesn't have to build this app. So it's not just selling services on the service side, like SaaS services, which I have to believe they probably do as well from what we have seen. But they're also selling, I'm assuming again, licenses to their application, so they can rebuild it, have a version of it, because again, it's not caught up. The version of Wegmans that I'm seeing is certainly behind, because Instacart used to look like that months ago, not so much anymore. Um, so how they do the upgrade plans, I have no idea. So they're going to have to catch up to it. They're going to have to sell upgrades probably to Wegmans in these grocery stores. Now they're actually selling software not just as a service, but actually I reckon as a licensed product. They're saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to build these solutions for you in quick time and give it to you. And however, whoever ends up managing it, improving it, and whatnot is however their relationship essentially works. Now that's the thing that caught my attention was that's it's almost like they took I'm not saying they took our business model. There is a business model that's out there that's very similar. So it was a pleasant surprise to me that larger organizations, they are bigger than us. Larger organizations are actually using our business model, which has been our business model from day one. And let me go back to sharing my screen again here. Let me share my screen. Okay. Now let me get out of these two apps and let's get to, say, the Snowpal app, for instance. So we are, our app is from a B2C standpoint, it's a project management app. You can manage your projects at school, at home, at work, wherever it is that you want to manage. And everything in life can be looked at as a project. If you're doing travels, you're a YouTuber, you can create your travel content, plan your travel content around as a project. If you're Harold Balder, I believe he's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's currently in beautiful Italy. He's planning trip to Italy, so he can create content around his trip and plan that trip, right? So it's a project, long story short. We also integrated our courses into our app not too long ago, right? We launched our education platform on the web, and then we integrated that into our app. Now we publish our courses. We collaborate with the other course creators, so they can monetize the sale of their courses by having a relationship with us. We manage everything on the from a platform standpoint. All that the course creators have to do is create the course and just worry about the content of the course that they create. Now, this is a couple of different products integrated. Now, imagine if you wanted something like this. What if you're building a mobile app that deals with just courses in entirety? Just as an example, you're like, hey, guys, folks, we don't want to like rebuild. That's not our core business. Can you make your app available to us or a version of it? Can you build one for us in quick time so we can actually build something like this? We want something where people can go look at a course preview. I can, click play here. I can turn it around. I don't know if it's actually showing it. It's showing it on my screen. Maybe it doesn't project it here. Okay. So, and then you can make the purchase of the courses. You can go back to courses, search, find your courses, the ones you're looking for. Let's say I go here and I type AWS, it's going to pull up all the AWS courses and so on and so forth. Just an example. Or you could say, you know what? I am actually interested not so much in courses, but in the other aspects of it. And maybe it's nothing to do with projects per se. Our solutions are very generic. So you can purchase the app and we can build, in the case of Instacart, it's in the business of groceries. So it's probably very similar. It's exactly the same business. And maybe their solution is implemented specifically for food businesses because it's very food specific and food centric. Our app is pretty generic, so you can actually build a restaurant business or a fintech app using our underlying design patterns and components, right? I can go in here, I can go look at different pieces of content. I don't This is like production data, it's my app. I don't want to click through something that I cannot share here, but there's plenty of features around what you can do on our app. And you might be like, you know what, I actually like everything about this and I'm going to solve a different problem. Then you can work with us to actually have us build the app for you, but we don't have to do it from scratch because we have all of this functional. Imagine what the turnaround times might be, how quick it would be for us to do it, as opposed to you hiring, staffing a team and getting the expertise in building these mobile solutions. If you're a software company, it's still going to take you a fair bit of time. If you're not a software company, it's going to take you that much longer. And it just depends on your team, your expertise, what you've done in the past, yada, yada, yada. So that's the gist of it. And it was very interesting to me to see that Instacart and Wegmans had done that. And I use Wegmans, we purchased there, so I can tell. they cannot possibly be the only one. I'm pretty certain there's other grocery stores that have already started beginning to use it. Now, why do I have to rebuild what I have, what I need? I'm going to just leverage your service, so people can either buy it through Instacart directly or go to my app. Either way, Instacart stands to gain because they're making money through this process, and they probably have several layers of commissions that they probably gain from this. And from a Wegmans standpoint, it's still positive because they are in the business of selling groceries, vegetables, meat, and juices and whatnot. That's what they want to do. That's what they're good at. They're not necessarily interested or have the skills to even to build software or have an IT team, and it's not worth it. And even if they did, how are they going to maintain and manage and improve upon it? It's just too laborious, expensive, and not the right right way to solve their problems either. We have to agree, correct? So this is a win-win situation, and it's a beautiful example because it resonated straight up with us at Snowball, because that's us as a business selling software that's difficult to build, it's complex to build, that we do the heavy lifting, so you can get started in a go to market in quick time. Your time to market is going to be slashed dramatically out. I say not like 20% or 30%, not even like 50. I think we're talking more like 60, perhaps close to 80, 75% of your time is going to be saved. Certainly on the server side, a lot more. And if it's apps that we need to build and provision for you, you're going to save a fair bit of time there as well. I have, just in the interest of completeness, let me. I guess I should share one more thing, just so this conversation is actually truly complete. Let me share. Let me open a different window because this time I'm actually not going to share the mobile window. So let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, you see our app here. So let's say this is our web application. We saw the mobile app. Now I'm just going to log into the web app. You're going to see the exact piece of content here. You're going to go. You're going to see API gateway, home, and invoices. So you can see it's exact same content. I'm not making this up. And then we have courses as well, right? You can go to education, you can check out our courses, and you can purchase the courses through our web app too. So imagine you want to build a web application. You're like, you know what? I don't want to go about building the whole thing. Can you, sell me a license? Sell us a license so we can take what you have and extend that to serve our needs, make the necessary customizations, tweaks, adjustments, and whatnot. Sure. So the idea here is to be able to reuse what's already out there and not reinvent the wheel. So let's say you want something that has Kanban, for instance. Imagine implementing a Kanban solution. Some of this actually gets even more complicated depending on the type of content. So if I go here, I can share summer concerts. This is like a Kanban interface. Imagine if you have to implement all of this, how much time is it's actually going to take you? It's going to take you a fair bit of time, a lot of time, and depending on your team skills and whatnot. So you work with us so we can, sell you licenses and maintain, improve, provision, manage, scale, and whatnot. And when I saw the other examples of the app, it actually kind of connected immediately, and I want to share that with you. Hopefully, this makes sense. Hopefully, you had a bit of learning here. And if you're a company, a software startup, try to build. You don't want to over-engineer. You want to have your verticals, but at the same time, be cognizant and aware of the horizontals that you can potentially build along the way. Because sometimes I've seen companies just build verticals, not worry about the horizontals, meaning the platform layers and dependencies, and then it doesn't let them extend. And at the other extreme, I've seen companies go the whole 9 yards about making things super generic. So it's hard, you're not solving current problems immediately without verticals. So you're going to have to draw the balance depending on how much money, time, and skills you have. But there's never a straightforward silver bullet or a good answer. Make the best decisions you can with the information that's available to you at that point of time. Before the sun starts hitting my face even further, I think I should close it, wraps on this podcast. Thanks for watching. Hit us up if you have questions, and we're more than happy to partner with you, make you more successful in the process, and make you more successful in the process. Thanks, and talk to you soon.